The Florida housing market's about to hit a turning point, bigger than anything we saw in 2020 or 2021.
Big news in real estate today. Pending home sales just slipped again. The National Association of Realtors reports that contracts fell 0.8% in January.
Hey friends, today we're going to talk about housing. I'm 30 years old and I've gone to school, I've worked a job, and guess what? I still haven't been able to buy a home, and that dream just keeps getting further away. Today we'll try to figure out what the problem is, why we can't save up for a home at all, and why 2026 has become so difficult. So, get comfortable. We're going to look at all the situations together, and I'll help you figure it all out.
Realtor.com just came out with an article that said nearly 90% of prospective buyers are planning to purchase a home in 2026 as affordability improves. We're seeing a ton of price reductions. Are you guys seeing it? I know up north they're still seeing homes go way over asking with multiple offers, but here in the south, I'm in Myrtle Beach and also Charlotte, North Carolina, and Florida, we're seeing a ton of price reductions every week. So it is becoming more affordable to own a home, and I see rates dropping right now. What are you saying? I'm curious. And do you agree that 90% of home buyers are sitting on the fence? I don't know, but I will say.
Okay, 90% of buyers don't want to spend money. Or rather, it's more accurate to say it's not that they don't want to spend it, they just have nowhere to get the money to spend. So they're just waiting for a certain good offer. But they see that those offers never actually come.
My team and I have at least 11 listings coming on in January. 11. There's only 15 of us. It doesn't seem like a lot when you think about how many people we have, but 11 is a lot of homes that I'm stacking in advance. I don't know if I've had this many going into the next year, except for when we were going through COVID times. So I want to know what you're seeing, and I want to know if you agree with this statement right here, because if this is the case, it's about to be bananas. And do you think that we're going to see enough inventory hit the market to capture this demand? Or do you think that people are going to demand the home so much that we're going to see the prices increase again? I'm curious about this. I want to know what you guys think.
Dude, do they really think they'll have enough house listings? Hey, maybe they should ask if people's salaries will be enough for these houses. It seems to me like these are two unreal worlds that just don't intersect. Well, it's pretty strange.
A lot of you guys watch my content and I talk about how agents can be better in real estate. If this is the case, I think you need to go out and get more listings, because the listings are going to sell, right? I mean, if we have this logic that all these buyers are waiting on the fence to buy and they're waiting for next year and the rates to go down, then he who holds the listings, or he or she, is controlling the market and will make sales and be prosperous.
Oh, look, CNBC is saying it is now a buyer's market. But does that mean that it's actually going to be more affordable for you to buy your first home or even your second home? Well, not so fast. They're saying that almost 50% of houses have lost value since 2020. But it isn't enough to make a significant change for most first-time or even second-time buyers to buy a house. A lot of people are looking at the interest rates are close to 7%, and they're looking at those payments with insurance and taxes, and they're saying, yeah!
Friends, that's the only thing I can say looking at these sales ads. I'm just speechless.
But Lawrence Yun, chief economist from the National Association of Realtors, is saying, hey, you're going to get a deal. There's going to be more houses on the market next year, and that the stagnant housing market has ended. I don't know. I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm thinking that the jobs market isn't looking so good. And I don't think, even though it is a buyer's market, that a lot of buyers are going to be jumping into the market. Home prices are way too high. But call me crazy. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Are you going to be buying a home in 2026? I think they're overly optimistic.
Finally, someone's telling the reality about housing while being in it. Because I've been telling my wife for 2 years about housing and the whole situation. She says I'm just a whiner. but I think I'm just a realist.
So Zillow just released its housing forecast for 2026. Here's what you need to know. So home prices next year, they're expected to go up 1.2%. Now, that's nothing crazy or major, but it does contradict a housing crash. That's not happening either. So after a slow 2025, home sales are projected to rise by over 4%. So what's happening here? Well, we're seeing signs of a thaw. So the market isn't fully back just yet, but it is starting to normalize. And then you ask, well, what about builders? They're slowing down on new single family homes. 2026 will be the slowest year for new construction as far as starts go since 2019. So they'll be leaning on incentives to move the homes, the low interest rates, the excess credits, closing costs, things like that for homes that are already built. So what's the bottom line here? Well, we're not in a red hot market, but we're not frozen anymore. This is the kind of slow return to normalcy that creates real opportunities for buyers and sellers who have been simply waiting on the sidelines this whole time.
Most people who are going to buy a home in 2026 are going to overpay. And there's one main reason why. If you're new here, my name is Carlo. I'm a loan officer. I've been helping people for over 25 years purchase and refinance. Let's get right to it. The thing to understand is that when rates start coming down, something that you've been told for a long time is that when rates come down, competition goes up and more people enter the home buying market. That's not going to happen as much this time around. So the number one reason why people that are going to buy a home in 2026 are going to miss out and they're going to overpay is because they're going to be told that one thing. You do not want to give away your power in 2026 if you are a first-time home buyer, especially if you are a decisive, well-prepared, well-qualified first-time home buyer. You want to get yourself a deal. We're already seeing it in so many markets. Now, here's what you're going to hear. Not in my market. That's not going to happen here. It depends on where you're located, which is why on my lives, I encourage you to join me. We go live almost every day. If you understand your market and furthermore, you understand inventory, how many homes are available in your market, you're not going to overpay. If anything, you can pretty much write your own ticket. You can pretty much be like negotiate, which means that you put in that offer. And even though, yeah, rates are coming down, not everyone is going to be coming back into the market where you're dealing with all this competition. So when you go and you put an offer in on the home, the other thing is you don't want to give away seller assistance. You want to either come in under asking, you want to ask for seller assistance. Are there going to be exceptions to the rule based off of some areas? Sure. That is why you must look at inventory. When I'm working with one of my clients, the first thing I want to do is get an idea of what they're going to qualify, what price range they're going to be in, where they want their monthly payment, and what area, what market are they in? What market are you going to be in? What market do you want to buy in? Because if not, you're going to be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Here's another reason why a lot of people are going to be losing and leaving money on the table is by using the wrong loan. A lot of people think that FHA is like the best way to go. It's a good way to go. But you know that 52% of first-time home buyers use conventional financing? You're going to owe less money right out the gate when you go with a conventional loan. So don't just overlook that because you might be a first-time home buyer. So hope that helps.
So friends, you need to know before you sign all the documents, you need to know that 52% of people take an FHA loan, not knowing that other options also exist. So the system isn't built to help you. It's built just to go right through you. That's it.
Do not buy a home in 2026 unless you do these three things. They're extremely important, and if you don't do them, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. If you're new here, my name is Carlo. I'm a loan officer. I've been helping people for over 25 years purchase homes. Let's get right to it. Number one, do not wait until your lease is up to start the process. One of the questions that I get asked all the time is how soon should you start the process? Here's the thing. Here's the truth. When you go to buy a home, it can be extremely stressful and it can be very scary. And if you're learning while you're doing that, while you're finding, while you're searching, you want to do your learning early. You want to do your research as early as possible. That way, when you go and you find a home, you're thinking as clearly as you possibly can. Because no matter what anyone says, it can be stressful and it can be scary, especially when you're doing something you've never done before. Probably some of the best things you've ever done in your life or ever accomplished in your life probably were scary. Buying a home, very, very similar. So when you're learning about the numbers and what you're going to need and the payment, this is where a lot of people make mistakes, by the way, is when they're in the heat of the moment. How many times I heard that? Anyway, they're in the heat of the moment and they find something that they like. So they have to deal with the inspections, the offers, moving, leases, all that good stuff. Your family, your friends, your pets. does your dog approve? I don't know. But at the end of the day, you want to get started the process much sooner than later. Number two, as interest rates come down, what you're going to hear is that when rates come down, you got to be more decisive and you got to really make a decision of what you want, because if not, you're going to miss out. You're going to lose the house. Here's the thing. One of the best things that you can do is to have the freedom to walk away from the deal altogether. When you go into any negotiation or you see a home that you have to have, you're always going to be at a disadvantage. If you're in a situation where you're trying to buy something, but look, you're like, hey, rates are coming down, but guess what? I'm still not giving away all my negotiating power, even if rates are coming down, because in 2026, the rules are going to be different. They're going to benefit the buyer. They're going to benefit you. You should be rewarded for your patience.
Listen, friends, rewarded with patience? Are you serious? I've been waiting since 2019, and I feel like I'm asking this on behalf of everyone right now.
Not told, oh, well, you know what? Do a 50-year mortgage. That's a great idea. Listen, if you want that, fine. But there's so many other ways that you can save money. So what you don't want to do in 2026 is just look at one thing and one thing only, rates, because then you're like, rates are coming down. I got to make a decision right now because everybody else is going to be coming in under me to buy this home. So keep that in mind. Number three, very, very important, is that you understand two very key things. Number one, how your real estate agent and how your loan officer, that's me, are getting paid. Because when you go, yes, you should work with a real estate agent, and hopefully you're going to work with a loan officer, maybe me, give me a call. But the point of the matter is that how a realtor is getting paid, even though the seller is probably going to pay for it, it's still important for you to understand how that process works and where that money is coming from. Because when it comes time to negotiating, you don't want to give that away just because somebody else is paying for it for you, because that could directly affect the negotiations. The other thing, when it comes to lenders like myself, in some cases, we might be able to offer a lower interest rate, but it's costing you more money because we can just change the section A of the loan estimate. So that's why whenever you're looking at interest rates, you also want to look at the total closing costs, the amount that it's going to cost you to get into the home. And the other thing is that if you take a slightly higher interest rate, you might get a lender credit in some cases where it will reduce the cash to close.
I would not buy a home in 2026. I repeat, I would not buy a home in 2026 unless I get these three things. And as a mortgage loan officer for the past 20 years, helping people nationwide get into their homes, I kind of know a thing or two. The first thing I'm going to do is get a below market rate with a permanent buy down. I'm not going to do a temporary buy down. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the seller to pay for that rate buy down and all my closing costs. So all I have to come in with is my down payment. Third thing I'm going to do, I'm not putting 20% down. I'm going to put the minimum required, and then I'm going to grow my money, make money on my money elsewhere. And when I start making my mortgage payments, I'm going to set up biweekly payments, which means I'm going to add one extra payment to my mortgage per year and shave off about 7 years of interest on a 30-year loan. Now the question is, what are you going to do?
Friends, this is the information our parents, grandfathers, and grandmothers gave us. And now I'm listening to this at midnight on YouTube. Are you serious? Why didn't we listen to this? It seems like because we didn't listen to the banks, we're being deceived. And many are profiting off of us, the ordinary people.
If you're a first-time buyer wanting to buy in 2026 and someone has told you you need a 20% deposit to be able to purchase, you are being lied to. We are week 1 of 2026. 2 days, 3 new clients, all first-time buyers. Client 1 needs a $19,000 deposit. Client 2 needs a $23,000 deposit. Client 3 needs a $28,000 deposit. How, you ask? Using the first home guarantee scheme. No, the government don't own any part of your property. No, you do not have to pay them back, but it means you can purchase with a 5% deposit. Depending on your state, you may have a stamp duty waiver as well. If you want to know what your minimum deposit would be, if you're a first home buyer, comment your state and your ideal purchase price, and I will tell you.
If you're wondering what the 2026 housing market's going to look like, here's the short answer. It's going to be better. And experts say that because 3 things are lining up at the same time. First, lower mortgage rates. They've already come down and forecasts show them staying in the low 6s this year. That's good for affordability. Second, more inventory. The number of homes for sale could grow by another 9%. That means more options, less upward pressure on prices, and more leverage when you buy. And third, slower price growth. While this is going to vary by area, national forecasts are calling for prices to rise on average only 1.5%. Put those three things together and you get a market with more balance, more predictability, and more breathing room than you've had in years. If you want to know what this means for your plans in our local market, let's talk. Message me today.
Buying a home in 2026? Don't start with Zillow. Start with this. I'm Lisa, a mortgage advisor, and if 2026 is your year, these 3 moves matter way more than rates. First, lock in clarity, not a house. Know your comfortable monthly payment, not the max, the peaceful number. This becomes your anchor no matter what rates do. Second, get curious about your options. First-time buyer programs, renovation loans, temporary buy-downs. 2026 buyers with options feel calmer and move faster. Third, build a plan early. That includes your cash strategy, your credit strategy, and your timing strategy. The market rewards prepared buyers, not rushed ones. If you're thinking about 2026, stay here and ask questions in the comments. I listen before I advise. Now let's make home happen.
Hey, so we just got back from the Jeff Glover Summit down in Arizona, and one of the big presentations was that NAR's own chief economist, Dr. Yoon, presented the 2026 housing forecast for this year. And the headline is Opportunity. With mortgage rates at a 3-year low around 6%, NAR is predicting a 14% increase in home sales. As you can see here, that 1% drop from last year will unlock 1.6 million renters who can now afford to buy. But NAR also warned that this recovery will be uneven. We are seeing that play out here in Kitsap. As you can see, inventory is super low and demand is already picking up. Comment 2026 below and I'll send you a localized breakdown of what these national stats mean to us.
I'm telling you, people are underwater and short sales are coming back. I talked with the seller today who bought her house a year and a half ago, beautiful new build, and she was saying that she wanted the same price that she had paid for it a year and a half ago. The problem is that they only did a $1,000 down payment, so they have absolutely no equity. They haven't paid any of the principal. Prices haven't gone up. They've stayed flat or even maybe gone down a little bit. If they sold it for the exact same price that they bought it for, they would have to bring probably about $25,000 to $30,000 to close. And in a short sale, what happens is if it sells for a loss, the bank covers the difference, and the bank also covers those closing costs. So even if they sell a property for even a tiny bit more than what they had paid for, it still could possibly be a short sale if they need help with those closing costs. And after talking with these sellers, I had to be very transparent with them and tell them, look, unless you guys can bring this kind of cash to close, you're probably gonna have to pursue a short sale. Sounds like they're gonna hold off on selling. I don't know if that's the route they're gonna go, but this is something that I'm starting to run into all the time. So we haven't seen short sales since like the housing crisis that happened in 2007, but they're coming back and I think they're gonna start being a theme in 2026. What do you think? Are you?
Okay, friends, we've gone from a market crash to short sales. Meaning these experts who advised buying housing for 6 months in 2022, they continue to advise us on what to do and act as if nothing happened. Well, it's absurd. Okay, now for the conclusion. Listen, guys, if you're struggling to buy your own place and you're 30, 35, or even 40 years old and you feel like something's just not right, you're saving every penny, but the math just doesn't work, and you're still stuck renting and can't afford to buy anything, well, you're not imagining it. It's actually true. Yeah, it's crazy that we can't afford this, but that's the reality. And honestly, it's pretty frustrating. And I'm going to keep talking about it